Straight up, nobody likes to get told off. And what's worse than that is that you get a telling off and then you also get punished. And when you're a kid and your dad went, you got to go to your room, and you're like, man, but now you're an old person, you're like, man, I'd love to go to my room. Imagine somebody sent you to your room, you could lay down, you could finally get some sleep, all would be well with the world again. Anyway, forget what I said, don't worry about that. But when we are talking about this in relation to professional wrestling, sometimes this actually happens, but it happens live on television. So not only is the performer in question like, oh my gosh, my father is yelling at me, but we the fans, we the viewers are like, we're watching it. I would make it even worse when you were a kid, if your dad was yelling at you and your best mate was through the window going, hee 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 hee. But that is what WWE is sometimes all about. And of course they're going to react. How could they not? And that's what we're going to talk about today, because my name is Simon Miller, and this is 10 very real reactions from WWE wrestlers that got punished on air. Number 10, Bart Gunn at WrestleMania 15. If you have been watching Vice's Dark Side of the Ring recently, the Brawl for All has just come back into your life and probably made you go, my word, what a ridiculous thing that was. Because not only did it endanger real human beings' lives, which we should never do, but also it essentially told the audience, right, everything else on this card isn't real, but now you're gonna get some proper shoot fights. I mean, it is so dumb. And if you are going to believe Vince Russo as well, he only came up with the thing because he wanted to see JBL get knocked out, and that's a whole other conversation for another time, but ultimately it was won by Bart Gunn, and this confused and surprised everybody because nobody in WWE had even given the smoking one a chance. And as the story goes, Dr. Steve Williams, who was also in this tournament, was expected to be victorious. That would then, start a feud between him and one Stone Cold Steve Austin. But when that didn't happen, WWE officials were pissed, even though it was them who went around going, hey, do you want to go have an actual scrap with someone? So rather than take advantage of this and try and push Bart, WWE just sent him home, and he did absolutely nothing until WrestleMania 15 when they rang him up and said, oh, by the way, you now have to fight professional boxer Butterbean. Now, Mr. Bean wasn't the greatest pugilist ever, but he was still a guy who'd been knocking out people for years. And surprise, surprise, at WrestleMania 15, he knocked Bart Gunn out so quickly, it made you go, did I miss it? Bart himself is pretty sure this was all a punishment for the fact that he won something he wasn't meant to win. And hands up if you now think we should just forget about the Brawl for All entirely, my hand is in the air. Number 9, Lita at Survivor Series 2006. This one just makes you go, what? Because it all seems so needless. But just after Trish Stratus had retired, Lita too decided that she was going to hang up her boots, and like the time-honored tradition that there is in professional wrestling, she lost to Mickie James at Survivor Series. Good for her. So it wasn't even a situation when a performer was digging their heels in. They were happy to give back to the business and go out the way they came in, on their back. When all this was done though, Crime Time came to the ring and started selling Lita's underwear and some of her sex toys to the crowd. And no, you didn't make that up in your mind. I actually just had to say those words. Lita looked mortified about the whole thing, as you would do, and really, this was just mean. And the former Team Extreme member had always been a popular member of the WWE universe, so we just wanted to say goodbye, not buy her pants. It seemed as if stepping away from the limelight so soon after Trish Stratus had caused some kind of ripple effect, and therefore she was punished. Pants. Number 8, Enzo Amore at SummerSlam 2017. The falling apart of Enzo and Big Cass in 2017 was very strange, because it was almost like Enzo was playing both the good guy and the bad guy, and his so-called friend, who used to be tall, was just standing there. And all of this really should have been very straightforward, because Big Cass had been revealed as the mystery attacker, and he had beaten up Enzo, but then he just lost before he teamed with the Big Show and continued to lose. The oddest part of all of this was at WWE's second biggest pay-per-view when Enzo Amore was suspended above the ring in a shark cage, because again, usually that stipulation is reserved for the heel in the feud, so they can be all scared and like, oh, I'm trapped in a shark cage, I'd rather be on the floor. But here supposedly, WWE did this to try and get a message across to Enzo Amore, who didn't have the best reputation backstage. We shall call it questionable. When they did find out he was scared of heights, they were like, ha ha, we can send him upwards, and then hopefully he calms down. The irony. It's why Enzo looked genuinely terrified when he was up there, even more so when he had to squeeze out of the cage and jump down right into a big boot by Big Cass. I think we could all agree that Enzo is an acquired taste, but you really shouldn't be putting people in situations where they may freak out. Number 7, Public Enemy on Sunday Night Heat in 1999. If you've never seen this match, I implore you to do it now, and furthermore, if you do have a friend that likes to waddle around going wrestling is all fake, make sure you invite them to this watching party, because there ain't nothing predetermined about the APA taking on the Public Enemy in 1999 on Sunday Night Heat. I would call it a legal mauling. But Public Enemy get the crap kicked out of them here, apparently because they hadn't made a good enough impression backstage. In fact, a lot of people thought they were too big for their boots, so Farouk and Bradshaw were sent out to try and teach them a lesson. Apparently you teach someone a lesson by just punching them in the head loads of times and using chairs and steel stairs and ladders and whatever you can find around the ring. Even the commentators had to mention it because there was no getting around it, and when Kevin Kelly said, "Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see the Public Enemy in the then WWF again," he wasn't lying. They were out of the door. It all gone down within a month of this match, and it still just boggles the mind because wrestling is meant to be a sport where we protect each other, and yet here there was actual intent to maim. If you tried to do this today, you would be in so much trouble. But that's the 90s for you. Number 6, Baron Corbin on SmackDown in 2017. When Baron Corbin won the Money in the Bank briefcase a few years ago, it made all the sense in the world. His lone wolf character had gotten over, it started to get under people's skin, so what better way to make him even more hented by giving him a prize that so many people had taken advantage of in the past. This is me holding the briefcase. Like many other people that had been in this position, it all seemed like a certainty until from nowhere, it unraveled like a ball of yarn. I mean, not only did he get beaten by Jinder Mahal, after Jinder used the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, meaning that he'd lost his cash-in, but a few days later, he had his ass whooped by John Cena at SummerSlam, and that was that. Whatever momentum Baron had been thrown away, and fans were just scratching their head and asking why. Well, as it turned out, apparently, allegedly, in all those words, it seems as if when WWE had come out to talk about concussion protocol, Baron Corbin had made a noise go, "Well, actually, no, I don't agree. I used to play American football, and I don't think you're taking this serious enough." The powers that be did not appreciate this, and they let Corbin know that it wouldn't be tolerated by taking away his briefcase and ensuring he had a spanking at the hands of John Cena. Now, clearly they liked Baron Corbin because he was allowed another chance, which everybody should, but at the time, I tell you, Baron Corbin was heading that away. Number 5, Mickie James on SmackDown in 2010. Mickie James was pretty damn good at playing her character, whether it was when she was a crazed loon and she was feuding with Trish Stratus, or when she was just a lovable babyface, she got you to believe. But when she was massively bullied by Michelle McCool and Layla in 2010, I don't think she was acting at all. I actually think it may have hurt. Once again, the rumor mill adds fire to this situation, but it is indeed said that WWE management didn't think that Mickie James was in very good shape, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, so they sent Lay Cool out there to call her names, such as Piggy James. It was proper schoolyard stuff as they just continually went after her weight, but if the line was here, when all was said and done, we were like overhit. You couldn't even see the line anymore because we'd just taken it too far. There was some redemption because she did whip both their asses at the Royal Rumble, but that wasn't the point when this was going on. It wasn't fun to watch, and it kind of made you want to turn off the channel. It also felt like WWE trying to get a needless message across when really they should have been preaching the opposite. Don't do things like this, sheesh. Number 4, Kofi Kingston at SummerSlam 2019. This one actually works two ways, which is nice, because if we go back to 2010 when Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton were having their first feud, there was a little incident in one of the matches where Kofi forgot which move he was going to take. That pissed off the man who his voice is in his head. He slammed Kingston with an RKO and then actually stood up and danced around his body going, "Stupid, stupid." And that wasn't part of the plan. Randy Orton was just really pissed off. Fast forward to 2019, however, and Kofi Kingston was no longer the rookie, and in fact, he was an integral part of SmackDown. So when he was fighting Randy Orton again and knew what he could get away with, after he decked him to the floor, Kofi this time got up. He danced around Randy Orton's body while shouting, "You're stupid, man. You are stupid." It was a nice nod back to what had happened if you are a massive wrestling geek like I am. But if you do go back to the 2010s, this was no good for Kofi at all because it said that Randy was so annoyed about this, he actually had Kingston's pushed stop there and stop then. And it does seem that way. It looked like he was about to enter the main event, and then all of a sudden, he floated back down to earth. And what we've learned here is Don't piss off Randy Orton. Number 3, Carlito on SmackDown in 2007. So if we are to believe the chatter, when Ric Flair just randomly went off at Carlito in 2007 on an episode of SmackDown, it was completely unscripted and actually how the Nature Boy felt. The general crux of the tirade was that the 72 million time world champion didn't think Carlito took his job seriously, underappreciated the opportunity he had, and wasn't anywhere close to achieving his potential. He also thought he'd never amount to anything because he's too lazy, and I tell you, Ric Flair is taking some shots here to the point you go, is this a promo or is this an elderly gentleman getting mad at a youth? And of course the idea here was to try and motivate the man who liked to spit apples to see if he could get where the company believed he was going to go. But then it was weird anyway, because all that happened was that Carlito teamed with Ric Flair, they had somewhat of a decent tag team run, and then it all petered out anyway. However, seeing Flair of all people absolutely rip Carlito a new one is something that you want to check out. It's just not what you expect. Number 2, Cody Rhodes on Monday Night Raw in 2013. Back to the wrestling murmurs of yesteryear, we go to 2013 when Cody Rhodes and Goldust had recently just won the WWE Tag Team titles. Because of this, they were on commentary scouting out new opponents when from nowhere JBL just unleashed on Cody like he tried to steal his wallet. And what happened? Well, again, according to the whispers, Vince McMahon didn't think much of Cody Rhodes' Raw commentary. He didn't think he had enough gumption or gusto, so he told JBL just to go nuts. And my word, did JBL go nuts. And rather than a swift telling off, it took the focus completely away from the match onto these two, to the point, if Cody had turned around and just lamped him, you would have gone, oh, that's some weird angle we're doing. I didn't see it coming. It was kind of needless in hindsight because Cody was more than fine here, but something had pissed the boss off, and so this is what you get on live television. Wrestling. Number 1, Triple H on Sunday Night Heat in 1999. A twofold incident that dated back to 1996. Triple H had an odd year then, because he went from almost winning the King of the Ring to dancing around in hog poop when he tried to take on the Godwins. There was no two ways about it, something very odd had happened. Tying into the curtain call incidents when Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall broke kayfabe by giving each other a hug after the match, as it turned out, there was only one person who was going to be able to punish, and that was Triple H, because Shawn Michaels was the champion, and Diesel and Scott Hall, well, they were about to leave for WCW. Not allowed to reference it for years, this all changed on an episode of Sunday Night Heat in 1999 when Hunter Hearst Helmsley was doing a work shoot interview with Jim Ross, and he just went absolutely crazy. He said what a crock this was, and also told us that he was the game, and really the main event superstar that we know was born on that day. It was as real could get and was perfect for the time when reality and storylines were blurring together, and also showed you that yes, Triple H did get punished on TV, but he managed to get around it and get his ass back to the top. Know of any other wrestlers that were punished on live TV and what kind of reactions they had? Let us know in the comments below, and like the video, share the video, and subscribe to What Culture Wrestling before you go to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow What Culture on Twitter, What Culture WWE. Watch more videos here. What are we doing? YouTube. Watch more videos here on YouTube. My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you very much for joining me as always. I appreciate your click. I appreciate your view. More importantly, I appreciate you. I'll see you soon.